I'm Brother Christopher Daniels, and I want to talk to you today about happiness. Let's go. Are you happy? You know, it's something that my parents always ask me, and yes, Mom and Dad, I'm happy. But I realized that what makes me happy isn't what I used to think would make me happy. You know, my senior year of high school, there was this girl, and homecoming dance was coming up, so I wrote a song, and I went, and I sang it to her, and I asked her out, and she said, maybe. And at the end of the day, that maybe turned into a no. So I was crushed. I went, home that night. I was pretty chubby at that time. I had an existential crisis in the mirror, You're just a fat shadow of your former self. Pull yourself together. So I decided right then, I'm gonna get thin. I'm gonna start running, I'm gonna drink water with a lot of help from my friends. I dropped Spanish class for weightlifting, and she started going out with another guy. So I let it go. Winter went by, kept running, kept getting in shape. Spring came up. It's new life, new hope, and I found out through the grapevine that she liked me again. So I hatched this huge plan and asked her out to prom with a huge promposal. I had one friend give her a clue. She took her to Party City. Another clue took her to PetSmart. Another clue took her to Brewster's. And there was a Frisbee that had a marked parking spot underneath a bench at the park. She parked there. I jumped out of the tree. I asked her out to prom. She said yes. She went in a green dress. I went in a white tux with a green tie. And we rode off into the sunset, happy. So after that, I graduated, and I decided to give a missionary year, to give something back to God, to really get a good base for my faith as I go to college. And I went out to California, was working with youth, living with priests, and I started to live a life of grace more intensely than I ever had before. And I started to feel like God was calling me to the priesthood. And I was terrified, like priesthood. Look at everything they have to give up. I can't do that, Like I know where true happiness is. It's in marriage. It's in this girl that I love. So I put everything I had into that relationship. Even though it was really rough, even though it was never right in my heart, I gave it all I could. But I knew, I still wanted to be a good Christian. I still wanted to, be close to Christ. So I kept praying, but every time I prayed, that idea of the priesthood kept coming back like a dark cloud. So at the end of a year and a half after running from God, I decided I got to be honest with myself, and with a lot of help from my spiritual coach, Father Daniel out there, I decided, I would go to the Come and See program at the seminary. So I broke up with my girlfriend, I went, and I got there mad at God. I was like, I gave you 2 years of my life as a missionary, and what did you give me? You sent me in a seminary. I didn't want this. I wanted a beautiful wife and a great life, and I had the beautiful wife picked out. What happened? But I knew I had to do God's will, so I was going to stay and find out what that was. So at the end of the program, during an 8-day silent retreat before I actually entered the seminary, I felt this tremendous peace. I realized that Christ loved me totally, and that I could love Him totally without worrying about losing that love. And I only found that in leaving everything to follow Him. I realized I was happy. And why? Because I had known that doing God's will was something I had to do, but I never knew that that's what would truly make me happy. And why? I thought what would make me happy was in doing what I wanted, but God showed me that in doing what He wanted, that's where true happiness lied.